1 bourbon, 1 scotch, and 3 tequilas.
Okay, you ready to get going?
Ready. Let's do this.
It's time for a beer, rum, and rock rock shot. This time, Jon Garner and I are celebrating the 40th anniversary of Iron Maiden's 5th studio album, Powerslave. Released on September 3rd, 1984, it went to number 1 in the UK and number 12 in the US, and would go on to sell over 8 million copies worldwide. The album was produced, engineered, and mixed by Martin Birch, who had produced the band's 2 previous albums, Killers and Peace of Mind. The band consisted of Dave Murray, guitars, Nico McBraid, drums, Bruce Dickinson, vocals, Steve Harris, bass guitar, and Adrian Smith, guitars. All right, Jon Garner, let's talk about Iron Maiden again.
Woohoo! Scream for me, Randy.
Okay, man, I love this sound. That's better than a scream, I think.
Cheers,
Cheers.
bro.
All right, dude, before we dive into the music, let's do what we always do. Talk to me about the first time you heard this album. You know, what you remember about this release and the impact it had on you as, I'm assuming, a Maiden fan already.
There she is, the original. Yep. Yeah, I was for sure a Maiden fan already seen 2 tours. And the amazing thing when we think of Maiden now, and even bands now, this was their 5th album in 5 years. Just think about that. And they knocked this bad boy out in ridiculous amount of time, coming off the heels of Peace of Mind, which was already, frankly, a gargantuan step from Number of the Beast. So, kid in school in the UK, yeah, massive Maiden fan already. And it was like, I'm not even sure what I'm listening to on this. It was seemingly so advanced for a couple of reasons, which I'll get into a little bit later. I mean, it had a big impact and still does, frankly. And what a record for the band, how it sort of catapulted them, frankly, onwards and upwards.
It totally did, dude. Yeah, I'm much like you. I was already a massive fan by 84, man. Like, Number of the Beast was my entry. Then I got the first 2. Then, like you said, Peace comes out in 83. I saw him on that tour for the first time. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready for more Maiden, and they did not disappoint. It was an instant classic. It's one of those.
So a quick fucking sidebar. You bring up Number of the Beast, right? Always looking for new shit to watch. So I've done my research for today, and I'm just going through my Netflix list of on my next to watch. And I see this show, which I've seen the trailers of, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get started on this. And it's called Rebel Ridge. And it's a vendetta movie, whatever. And Don Johnson plays a fucking badass bad guy in it. So it's all good. However, the reason I bring it up, so it starts off, and the opening credit is by Bonneville Productions. Well, I'm a Triumph guy, right? So fucking A. And what is it? The opening number, Number of the Beast. Have you ever heard of a movie opening up with Number of the Beast? Anyway, it was fucking brilliant. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is on tonight when we're going to do this show. It's fucking awesome.
Right on. I've never heard that before. That's fantastic. Makes me want to watch it, obviously, right?
So far, about halfway through. It's fucking good. It's great.
Wicked. Something I have to mention is, man, the combination of this album and that tour that followed was amazing. It had a huge impact on metal in general. I mean, Peace of Mind was big, but this album and tour, like you said, launched them into the fucking stratosphere. Like, this was them peaking.
I mean, showed this, and you can't show that without showing that. I mean, they're one and the same. Arguably, one of the greatest live albums ever, Live After Death.
And arguably, one of the best live DVDs ever.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I know how you like to do your old fun facts, so I've got one for you.
Go for it.
This was the first album that Maiden did where they had the same band members in a following album, which is insane. you think of the band and its longevity, but for those first 5 years, there was a bit of a movement of staff for various reasons.
Yes, and this lineup lasted 2 more albums, and then there was a change again, as we all know. Yeah, good one. Ranked number 38 in Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest metal albums of all time. That's not bad. There's a lot of great metal albums, so 38's not too shabby. Their last album to date to feature an instrumental piece, and the only one since Senjutsu, with Dave Murray not having a songwriting credit. So that's pretty geeky Maiden shit. And I got some fun facts on the tour. I know we're talking about the album, but these things are linked. Absolutely.
This album and this tour, they're so intertwined. Most of my notes are about the fucking tour, not the album.
I know, totally, right? It was so awesome. It was called the World Slavery Tour. It began in Poland in August of 84 and ended in California in July of 85. So it was just under a year.
331 days, Randall. 331 days on the road.
Beautiful. 28 countries, dude. Like, they're hitting it. The stage was based, as everybody knows, on Derek Riggs' cover art. That was the theme. What else can I tell you? First time a heavy metal band took their full production behind the Iron Curtain. They went to Poland and Hungary. That was the first. And the first time the band toured South America. They played to something like 350,000 people at Rock in Rio opening for Queen.
Yeah,
I mean, can you imagine? That would have been wild. And my last fun fact is, like I already held it up, they documented the tour on this Live After Death album and DVD. 4 nights at Long Beach Arena in LA and some Hammersmith Odeon stuff from London. Both fucking killer.
On exactly that. 4 nights at Hammersmith, which hadn't been done before. 4 nights at Long Beach. 5 at Radio City Music Hall.
Right.
I saw him twice on that tour. Saw him in Leicester at De Montfort Hall and at the Royal Concert Hall in Nottingham. So, I got to see them twice on that tour.
Now, how big are those venues, John, roughly?
They're not hockey arenas or anything like that. 6,000-7,000, maybe, something like that.
Right, and that makes sense to me. Like, I saw him here at the Stampede Corral, which you know of, and it's about that size, too.
Yeah.
If you had a venue, they're going to play it, whether it's 7,000 or 17,000, whatever it is. They were going for it. They wanted everybody to see this show.
Well, exactly. I was looking through it, and like you brought up the Corral, right? The Saddle Dome wasn't there yet, but they played some fucking barn in Sudbury. I mean, how big could that have been? It's like they didn't care. It's like, we're getting this shit out in front of everybody.
Exactly. They weren't venue snobs. They knew what they had, and they wanted people to see it.
For sure. I think one of the coolest things is that just seeing that stage show, the album was brought to life. The visuals that are created by the lyrics, I can go back to them now in my head of how it felt seeing them. Just great.
Okay, man, let's talk about the music. 8 tracks in total, clocking in at 51:12. Okay, man, let's pick our top 3 picks. My concern here is they're all going to be the same, but who's kidding who? We'll end up talking about all of them at some point anyway. But
probably.
Let's start with our top 3. Let's go from there, man. What do you got?
My number 3 is actually the title track, Powerslave. My notes here, spooky start, and I think they stole it from Michael Jackson's Thriller. But it's such a layered song from start to finish. And I think the earlier tracks, atypical Maiden, they're heavy, they're fast. Everything's a story, though, right? Which is what I love with them, right? There's something behind the actual lyrics. One of the lines here, right? Here we go. So bring me the blood and red wine for the one to succeed me. For he is a man and a god, and he will die too.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like, this isn't metal of what I think people think. I mean, this is poetry. And partway through, at the 2:55 mark, right? I mean, when a lot of songs are starting to wind down, there's a little bit of a break and some amazingly textured soloing. And I'm going to say here that Adrian Smith and Dave Murray are the best tandem in heavy metal guitar playing. They work so well together. I'm sure if you really analyze it, you can tell who's doing what. It's slightly different. Unlike KK and Glenn with Priest, you know which one's doing what. I love the fact that they're actually soloing over the top of each other in tandem. It's a thing of beauty. And that little break goes for almost a minute, and then it's like, fucking hang on, boys, here we go. We're going into the second half of the song.
Bring that riff back, yeah.
Right? It's so good. It's such a great song.
Tell me why I have to be a power slave. I don't wanna die. I'm a god, why can't I live? When the life giver dies, all around these lane ways. And in my lifestyle, I'm a slave to the power again.
I think it's worth mentioning that this is Dickinson's, hey? Like, he wrote the lyrics, not Steve on this one. Back to the lyrics. And yeah, you're right. Adrian and Dave, man, they do a lot of harmonizing. That's the key there, right? Like, it's really cool. It's a great song for sure, man. Okay, my first pick is Aces High. Steve Harris, of course, wrote this bad boy. Second single. I mean, it's one of the best opening tracks ever on a metal album. It's number 2 on my top 10 Maiden songs list, John. I don't know if you remember that. If you guys haven't checked that episode out, it's episode 61. You should check it out. You're going to hear the same descriptions in that one. Yeah, it was number 2, just behind Hallowed Be Thy Name. You know me, I'm the Hallowed Be Thy Name guy. Yeah, it's a tribute to World War II air battle. It's fast and furious, man. Ripping solos from Dave and Adrian. Again, like you mentioned, 2 very different styles, I think. I can pick them out on a good day. But they play well together, like he said.
Oh, for sure.
Bruce's vocal on this is fucking amazing, dude. There's a lot of lyrics delivered at a really fast pace, man. He's got so much power in his voice back then. Like, holy shit. Like, when he screams the title, Aces High, it's fucking bone-chilling, man. It's wicked. And I think Bruce takes things up a notch in terms of his contribution on this whole album, actually. He really rose to it on this one. Drumming is killer from Nico, of course. I Love a Hard Out. Boom. How it ends. Instant classic. And this album sounds amazing, by the way. Like, Martin Birch did another great job. And you know me, I got to mention the video. I love the video. It's mostly the band throwing down live, intercut with some black and white footage, but it's really the live shit I care about. It's got a rawness to it. It looks like they're rehearsing, right? On the Powerslave set. No crowd. I mean, Dickinson's rocking a leather jacket and t-shirt and jeans. He doesn't have his spandex on or any crazy outfits, so it's got that vibe. Love it. And it was the opener live, preceded by that Winston Churchill, "We shall fight on the beaches" thing, right? The intro's on tape and the boys come in and it's fucking on. I love this song. It's my first pick.
It's a beautiful time because it's my number 2. The whole Churchill speech thing, I mean, it still gives me goosebumps. You know, mine is maybe the last generation that sort of the Second World War was a very meaningful part of your upbringing. My grandparents lived through it, right? Not just lived through it, fought in it. You know, a couple of little notes I made, and I mean, you hit all the spots. It was great. It's just, there's that really nice sort of twin guitar lead intro. And then Nico's rat-a-tat snare, and I mean, it's just, and then it just goes off. And it's unrelenting. Where a lot of Maiden songs, they'll go up and then they'll slow down a little bit. This is fucking Mad Max, man. The foot is on the floor and the smoke billowing out of the exhaust. And a telling of the Battle of Britain, you mentioned it. But also, just that line of 10 ME 109s out of the sun. Ascending and turning, we turn our Spitfires to face them. It was one of the great battles of machinery. The Messerschmitt, it was a BF 109. It was commonly known as the ME 109, short for Messerschmitt. I mean, it was the fucking Mercedes of the air at the time. It was fucking unbelievable, that goddamn thing. And then this company in the UK, Supermarine, they designed the Spitfire. And it was originally with a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. And then it moved on to the Griffin. Check this out. 2,340 horsepower in the Mark IV Spitfire. And why it was so successful was just of its speed and agility versus the other aircraft that Britain had at the time. As a kid, I was big into these Airfix models, and I had a diorama of a 109 and a Spitfire hanging from my ceiling. I don't exactly know how big they were, but they were probably 2.5 feet wingspan, and everything painted meticulously. You could lift up the cowl, and the engine was painted. And I used to do that shit with my dad all the time. But for a few tours, Aces High would kick off the show. We'd start off with Doctor Doctor, and the band's coming, and then Churchill's speech would kick in. The last tour, it was the closer. The last time I saw them, they played Tampa, and the fucking Spitfire, man, comes out of the ceiling. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, Legacy of the Beast, they had that. It's fucking wicked.
Oh, it's just so good.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I also love Adrian Smith does those, I'll call them dive bombs, that, he's doing that to have that effect, right? It's fucking awesome.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For the full 4 minutes and 30 seconds, that motherfucker does not let off.
It's a banger, as they say.
It is a banger.
Okay, man. Awesome. My second pick is 2 Minutes to Midnight, John. Adrian Smith and Bruce Dickinson on this one. Fun facts, first single off the album. Also the first single to exceed 5 minutes in length. Went to number 25 on Billboard. The lyrics make reference to the doomsday clock, which represents, the likelihood of a global fucking catastrophe. Real feel-good stuff, it's Maiden. I'm going to give you some lyrics on this one. Because Bruce, man, he could write some lyrics too. Steve's not the only one, right?
Oh, shit, yeah.
I love it, man. Kill for gain, shoot to maim, we don't need a reason. Golden goose is on the loose, never out of season. Blackened pride still burns inside the shell of bloody treason. Here's my gun for a barrel of fun, for the love of living death. Man, that is cool.
Right?
And even though it's not super original musically, I still love that opening riff. Like, he's not reinventing the wheel, but there's something about it. I never get tired of that riff. It's just killer. It's a really catchy track. I mean, the riffage, the bass line, the vocals, there's some interesting tempo changes, great dynamics, and another cool video, just like Aces in terms of production. It's the band intercut with Doomsday B-roll. I watch these videos over and over and over. I just love it. Yeah, 2 Minutes to Midnight, man. That's my second pick.
2 minutes to midnight. The hands that threaten doom. 2 minutes to midnight. To kill the unborn in the
It's an honorable mention for me.
All right.
This is it. This is my number one.
Gee, I wonder what it is.
And the moral of this story, this is what not to do if your bird shits on you. The Rime of the ancient mariner.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh, my God.
What do you like about this one, John?
Everything. Everything. I mean, the fact that a heavy metal band, who everybody just looks at them as leather-jacketed weirdos, and me, myself, that's how we were considered at that time. And that they would take such an iconic piece of English literature and put it to music, and not just try and cram it in a 5-minute box. But no, we're going to stretch this bad boy out for 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Written by Steve Harris and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Poem was written in 1797, published a year later, and really, very clearly a portent of things to come for Maiden. This idea that, hey, we can play as long as we fucking want. It really doesn't matter, right?
We make the rules, goddammit.
We make the rules, right? And we bring out the term epic periodically. For me, this was the first epic from a pure metal band. What I really loved was how they, in certain parts, they didn't talk about the poem, they used the poem. They took the actual words, day after day, we struck no breadth or motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. And what everyone remembers from, if you're growing up in the UK anyway, water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. But the fact that they would and could put that in lyrically with the music, was massive. And then that whole breakdown, I was mesmerized the first time I heard it. Everything goes dark, the blue lights come on, the smoke comes on, and then you hear the creaking of the wood and shit like that, and then the voice comes up, and it was just fucking mind-blowing. I got one little anecdote for you. So, 84 in school, and I was at the Loughborough Grammar School, so a shout out to my own personal alma mater in the East Midlands. And we were in the midst of English literature and stuff like that. And ironically, at the time, we were doing this thing of how past literature would fit in with the modern world. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Do I have the vehicle for this? So I had the album and I also had the cassette. So I bolted into school and I'm like, hey, sir, I got the thing. So he's like, okay, do a piece on it and you can, you could talk about it next week. And he's like, how's the language? Language is completely fine. I said, I'm promising you, you'll be blown away. And blown away he was. It was fucking amazing. And I'll tell you, I just felt like King Dick. I got to play Iron Maiden at this very public English school.
Awesome.
And we had this whole interclass dialogue about a fucking Iron Maiden song. It was wild.
That's fun.
It was awesome.
I mean, there's nothing like making, that connection between something you're doing at school to something you're passionate about.
Yep.
It makes learning fun.
Yeah, exactly. Taking that passion, but flying the flag for metal at that time. It was brilliant.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I can't argue with that pick. Man, picking a third one was hard, but I had to go with the title track, John. What can I add that you didn't say? I mean, you said it all pretty much. Yeah, it's based on ancient Egyptian history, which fits into the whole theme of the album. It's just under 7 minutes, so it's got an epic quality to it, right?
Oh, it goes for a second.
I mean, it's not 13 minutes, but it's got an epic feel to it. And man, that riff is so heavy.
It is.
It's killer. And how about those vocal harmonies in the chorus? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's awesome. And the bass tone is right here.
Yep.
It's like, it's hitting you right in the face. It's just awesome. And I love how it slows down. I think you mentioned that. He gets moody in there before the solos. And you said it, Dave and Adrian kick ass. They just weave their fucking parts perfectly. Here's something you didn't mention, John. How about live? Dickinson wears that feathered fucking mask. I don't know where he got that. I don't know what sense it makes, but it's still cool. He's into the theater. He's very theatrical.
Yeah, I think it was from the Museum of Natural History.
For real?
I think he stole it. No, I have no fucking idea. I'm sure he got it made at a prop shop.
Yeah, Powerslave's my third pick, man. Had to do it. Had to go with the fucking belter. What'd you pick for an honorable? Oh, you already said what you picked for an honorable.
2 minutes. I mean, it couldn't quite kick in there for me.
Well, my honorable is Rime. It just didn't quite get there. I'm a sucker for the shorter fucking in-your-face kind of track, but this thing is wicked.
Well, you're wrong. I mean,
I know. I'm wrong again. Welcome to Randy's Wrong and John's Right. Ding! I still got to get that bell.
Yeah, you got to get that bell.
Fuck, I got to get that bell.
We've only been doing this for 4 years.
Oh, fuck. I love the tension in that first 5 minutes. And it kind of sets up the track. It's fucking cool. Galloping bass goes nuts. Steve goes crazy. And you mentioned it, but that atmospheric interlude, especially live, they got the lights going and those sound effects, like you said, really cool, man. And they build up to the solo, awesome. And then it just climaxes, huh? In a really cool way.
Frankly, to have the balls to go, we're going to put it in the fucking live show. I'm pretty sure they'll dig it. I mean, we'll find out, right? But if we're going to do it, we got to do it fucking right.
And they did.
And
Fuck,
they did.
I mean,
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's certainly not boring. I mean, you get those contrasting moods and it makes it an interesting listen. Absolutely. Okay, dude, let's briefly touch on the remaining tracks. Just briefly. Let's start with Lost for Words. You got any thoughts on that one?
Love it.
It's all right, but when compared to other instrumentals like Transylvania and Genghis Khan, it's a bit boring. I think it's a bit boring. That's just me.
It's
Ding! Randy's wrong again. Ding!
it's their version of, here I get a chance to throw in AC/DC on another show. It's their version of Chase the Ace.
Oh, there's a deep one. Nice work.
Right? That's what it is. It's a song that's crying out for lyrics. But from a bass song, it's fucking awesome. It's great.
Well, they should have left it off till they found the lyrics then. That's what I think.
No, it's fucking awesome. It's great. It's great.
Okay, Flash of the Blade. It's okay, but it wouldn't even make my top 20 Maiden songs. Maybe top 30 even.
No. For sure not. Ironically, though, it is on my scaled down honorable mentions. I think it's a jovial song. For sure, it's lighter. It's Bruce showing his affectation for fencing.
Right.
It's completely fine. Let's go with it's completely fine.
We're shooting for fine, yeah.
Right?
Here, keep in mind, these negative comments, everything's on the Maiden curve.
Correct.
People. For Iron Maiden, I found it weak. The Duelists. Nothing special, too long, paint by numbers Maiden, completely forgettable to me.
So to me, this is an extension of Flash of the Blade, but not as good. It was a story that was drug out too long and way too many pieces of Where Eagles Dare in it.
Oh, good one. Nice.
Way too many.
Okay, man, last but not least, Back in the Village. Starts off cool, a strong riff, the verses are good, but I find the chorus absolutely painful. It ruins the track for me. This is my least favorite track on the album.
I think I'm right there with you because it wanted to be something. I saw something that talked about it, sort of alluding even to The Prisoner. Well, they've already done The Prisoner. We don't need to go back to that again. You've already done that. And, back in the village, again in the village. Like, come on, guys. I know you guys can do better than that.
Oh, absolutely they can.
Come on.
Yeah, so we agree on that one. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, man, let's put a pin in this fucking thing. Any final thoughts on Iron Maiden's Powerslave, John?
Simply for me, it stands the test of time. It's as solid today as it was the day it came out. All the songs that we talked about, save a couple of them, would fit probably almost on any Maiden album. Let's say Aces High came out on Senjutsu and you hadn't heard it before, you'd be like, fuck me.
Oh, hell yeah.
What a track. It's as good now as it was 40 fucking years ago.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but where would you slot it in the top Maiden albums, your favorites? Where would it slot in? Just off the top of your head.
4.
Like 4-ish?
4-ish.
Right.
They can all rotate around. There's so many of them are interchangeable. You'd be hard-pressed, I think, to find a band that had a better 3-album run than Beast, Peace of Mind, and Powerslave.
Fuck, I'd say 7-album run. All the way to Seventh Son. It was fucking money. Okay, send your hate mail to me, people, but I think on the Iron Maiden curve, this album's overrated. That's what I think. It comes out blazing. Aces High. 2 minutes. Then it hits a wall with that instrumental. It doesn't kick ass again until the title track. There's a serious 4-song lull for me. That's half this album. They're okay, but they're not great. I mean, 2, like you said, are about sword fighting. Come on.
I think my audio went. I don't know.
It's a bit lazy in spots, man. Wall to wall, it's not as strong, I don't think, as any of those first 6. Like, to me, it's the weakest one out of that first 7-album run, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, half the album, like I said, is wicked. The tour was amazing. I think those two things combined, it gets too much praise because it's a combination of them at that time. That's what I think.
And maybe that's the thing. Maybe this is what brings this up. The tour was off the fucking charts.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It's hard to separate the two, but if you do, half of it is weak, man. Having said that, it's one of those albums that helped define metal back then.
For sure.
It was fucking huge.
Yeah.
It's the perfect combination, John, of speed, technical ability, and melody. Even if half the album doesn't quite cut it for me. I mean, I still love it, but for Maiden, there's other albums I like way more.
I 100% see where you're going.
I feel like I'm beating up on it, but I mean, it's great, but man, half of it's a little weak for me. But the other half is so strong.
So fucking good.
It carries it, right? Those 4 tracks carry this whole thing.
And maybe that's it, Randy, right? Is like we're so used to hearing Aces High has never left the tour. 2 minutes to Midnight comes in, comes out, but it's often there. Powerslave often there.
Those other ones, shit, have they even played those other ones live? I mean, I don't know.
Well, they sure as hell didn't play them on the tour, so I doubt they're dusting them off.
I'm not that big a nerd to know that, but I don't recall. And that tells you something right there. Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me, Jon Garner. That was awesome, as usual.
Tequila everywhere, and I got plenty to drink.
Thanks to you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you taking the time to hang with us. Let us know what you guys think of Powerslave in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts and memories of this album, too. You can find us on all the socials, wherever podcasts are broadcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, kids. And until next time, on behalf of Jon Garner and I, keep rocking alive, people. Peace out.
Elvis has left the building.